Feliz Navidad, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year from Kiss.
Feliz Navidad, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas from Kiss.
Ho, ho, ho! I'm wishing everybody a really Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year.
Someone stole Santa? That does not rock!
What's going on, vinyl community? Welcome to another episode of 25 Days of KISSmas, where every day leading up to KISSmas, I will be reviewing and discussing every Kiss studio album plus more. For the 7th episode, I will be reviewing the Paul Stanley solo album from 1978. So this little facet of Kisstory tends to get overlooked and rewritten, but according to Kiss's renegotiated Casablanca contract from late 76, it called for 4 solo albums to be released, which counted as 2 studio albums within their 5-album deal. And maybe the timing just so happened to be right because turmoil was all over the Kiss world in 1978, with all the fame and success that they had with album sales, tours, merchandise, and filming the Kiss Meets the Phantom movie. The band wasn't getting along, so the solo albums were intended to kind of ease those tensions. Each guy went off and did their own thing, and the end result are what I believe to be true artistic statements. As for Paul, he knew what formula worked and stuck with it. So let's dive into the album. Side 1, Track 1, Tonight You Belong to Me. Starts out very dreamlike with ethereal acoustic guitars and falsetto vocals, and then the main guitar melody kicks in into the heavy part of the song with layered guitars, and some interesting use of a device called an EBow that creates this sort of high-pitched drone for each string. So when you listen closely to the track, those are not synthesizers, that's an EBow. Track 2, Move On. This was one of the few tracks co-written by Paul and Michael Japp on the album. Very much a fast-paced power pop type tune. Nice use of an EBow once again in the bridge section. There's even some tasteful background vocals towards the end of the song that kind of give it a sort of soulful edge. And this was the one song from this album that Kiss played during the Dynasty tour. Track 3, Ain't Quite Right, another track co-written by Paul and Michael Japp, and the use, once again, of an EBow really works well with this track, since the tone of it has a sort of sparse yet haunting, low-key vibe to it, and it creates a nice, subtle atmosphere. Track 4, Wouldn't You Like to Know Me? This right here is power pop perfection. Crunchy solid chords with catchy hooks and vocal harmonies. And this style can be seen similarly to a band like the Raspberries, which Paul did admit that he intentionally paid homage to them on this particular tune. Track 5, Take Me Away, Together as One. Another track co-written by Paul and Michael Japp, and it's one that offers a bit of melodrama, such as the opener, Tonight You Belong to Me. You have the acoustic verses that are subtle, both musically and vocally, and then when the big electric chords hit for the choruses and solos, it provides a nice bit of contrast. Appearing behind the drum kit on this track is Carmine Appice of Vanilla Fudge and Cactus, and his bombastic fills perfectly complement the bombastic musical section of this particular song. Now we're going to flip the album over to side 2, track 6, It's Alright. Another driving rock piece, typical Kiss/Star Child territory that tells the story of a one-night stand. Track 7, Hold Me, Touch Me, Think of Me When We're Apart. So Paul shows his sensitive side with this soft rock ballad, which is rather lush with acoustic guitars, strings, and piano. And while this sensitive side can be identified with Paul as an individual, it completely goes against the ethos of who the Star Child is as a persona who is very confident and macho. This sappy stuff is just not really my cup of tea, and to even think about the fact that this was released as the sole single from the album, the powers that be could have fared out better with a different option. Track 8, Love in Chains. Now we get back into rocking familiar territory, a rather vengeful and convincing song about how the protagonist has a close guard on her emotions, and this lyric matches well with the very soaring arrangement. Track 9, Goodbye. The title alone serves as a fitting end to this album, along with the lyrics promising that the Star Child will indeed come back somehow. Now, when I did my KISS catalog ranking video, I didn't include the 1978 solo albums, since I felt that while they are technically part of the catalog, they are very much on their own plane. So then I did a video where I ranked them, and out of the 4 solo albums, I would put Paul's album at the number 2 spot. The interesting thing with how Paul approached this album is that he started out recording demos at Electric Lady Studios with the intention of redoing them in LA, but they didn't come out right, so what ended up on the final record were simply embellished versions of the demos, which sort of add a raw, spontaneous charm on the record, which also lends itself as to why this is the most KISS-sounding album out of the solo albums. So there you guys go. That is the 7th episode of the 25 Days of KISSmas series. Stay tuned tomorrow for the 8th episode, and you can already guess what's coming next. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead, give it a like, and subscribe to the channel. See you guys in the next video, and most importantly, keep the records spinning.
Treetops glisten and children listen to hear sleigh bells in the snow. I'm dreaming of a